factors. Even there's a lot of different factors no matter where you work, like but if it's that familiarity, like, okay, I know all the people here, I know what's going on, I know what to expect, I know how I can maneuver this. It's easy to jump right, and then that's like, all right, now think about it. Cody Rhodes goes back there. He already knows the main people. He knows all the execs. He knows the main boss. Okay, hey, what's up? How's the kids? Okay, they're gonna give me more money, more options than I didn't have when I wasn't here before, because now I'm on another level. I'm not the same Cody that left here, Stardust before. Now I'm like, all right, I'm about more of a balanced breakfast myself. They're like, oh shit, we can't, maybe from a executive level, we can't even dupe this guy like we did before. Let's face it, companies do that shit. They know that, I know I don't have to pay Dominic Mysterio as much as his father. You know what I mean? Like, they know that. Like, that's not a battle you can win.
To me, I just feel like in this conversation we're having here, where whether or not it makes sense for Cody to re-sign with WWE and return in a talent role. I don't personally. In my own personal opinion, in that particular aspect, I would think he's a sellout based on what his track record for me in terms of what he's built on the side of AEW. Going back to it just, to me, it just doesn't make sense. Now for him, if he really is going to show up at WrestleMania, we don't know. Like right now, as we talk and do this show right now, we are two people who haven't watched WrestleMania yet, so we have no idea whether or not.
Before, as this is recorded, first and foremost, welcome everyone to another episode of Ronnie and Markell podcast. I feel like we haven't done that in a while, but yeah, like, if, as this is recorded before WrestleMania, if that happens, I feel like, yes, it kind of makes him a sellout, but at the same time, I can see from a person who has a family, has a woman and a child and stuff and kids, and I feel like I can see where he's coming from if he took a new deal with them. Especially if that deal, schedule-wise, okay, this deal, you got to think about different factors. Does this deal allow me to spend time and see my spouse? Does it give me time to be with my child? Is it even more money than I was making at the previous place where I was? Am I even more comfortable here? Because, just like in AEW, he knows all the people here. I know half the wrestlers in the locker room. I know half the execs at the corporate office. So it's like, and that's what we were just talking about before. I feel like that's where, because you say he didn't just have to go there, he could go to any company, but yeah, he may not have that familiarity and stuff with other companies like this.
That's not what I meant. I don't mean. So Cody Rhodes, upon departing from WWE earlier, in the 2000s, departed there and went out and did something that was inspirational to, hundreds of indie wrestlers, and they've gone on record to say what he did is he went out. Even Drew McIntyre, like, thanks Cody Rhodes, he went out and basically on his own, he did not re-sign with WWE and said, you know what? I think I'm going to take this Rhodes name out on the road, and I'm going to take this Rhodes name and I'm going to become one of the biggest indie stars. I'm going to basically become undeniable. Every freaking independent promotion that's not WWE is going to know my name, and they're going to respect me higher than anything. I'm going to win title belts. I'm going to be prestige. I'm going to be all elite. And he did all of that. All of that he did. And then on top of that, after doing all of that and having, Ring of Honor titles and New Japan Pro and everything, him and a few other guys who had the same mindset, came together and was able to recruit some people from WWE, like Chris Jericho, to come over and build a place and build a platform and build a stage for people to feel comfortable in not only having a nice work-life balance, but also feeling like a actual independent contractor or a wrestler who is a part of their own gimmick. Like,
I was just about to say that have more creative freedom with the gimmicks they want to do.
Correct. And then for all of almost 3 to 4 years, this same guy has been the forefront of this movement that he created with AEW. AEW is not toppling over WWE. We all know that, but it has created a movement in which it allows for people to feel comfortable, not only negotiating for bigger prices, because I can tell you right now, there are, I would say, dozens of wrestlers who are still in WWE right now who re-signed and got a bigger paycheck because AEW exists. I guarantee fucking.
Oh yeah, of course, because it's like you mean like Sasha Banks or Charlotte Flair or Becky Lynch, like half these people that are like
Randy Orton
can't really afford to lose. I mean, you can only say it that way. You can't afford to lose so many people because we ain't got enough show if we lose too many people.
Correct, and I feel like in that instance, it wasn't out of the fear, but it was more like the negotiation power came to play with, because now you had like you've had innovations happen within wrestling, but this was a revolution essentially, where now all of these independent stars, they did something that Vince McMahon has, not gone on record, but other wrestlers have gone on record to say. Vince McMahon essentially doesn't want you to know your worth. And most CEOs or business owners don't want their employees to know their worth, because they want
not only that, they a lot of times don't want their best employees, especially, to know their worth.
I want you to know
if they see like, man, this guy's good, he gets the job done, he's really well. And then you talk about like, yeah, might be looking, hear a rumor in the office, you're looking for somewhere else. Whoa, I can't afford to lose the best janitor, but you don't nobody mop floors like you.
I mean, I agree with that. That's where it comes down to, so for Cody to go and achieve all that he's achieved, it seems just the same way right on this very show, we've talked about how ass backwards these WWE superstars like Charlotte Flair, like Dolph Ziggler, like Finn Balor, going back to NXT to win the NXT title. It's like, why? Like that's my big thing for Cody.
I said that. I think it's just to try to save that sinking ship.
But that's the thing, though. Are these people who are going down there getting a boost in paycheck? Because like you said, well, Cody could go down there from a business standpoint and do what? Like, what is he doing that like is?
Oh yeah, I would definitely say that. Yeah, hey Dolph, go over to we need you to go over to NXT. Ratings have been down, but we think if we put you and a few other people in the mix over there, we get the ratings back up. It would be a $200,000 boost in your salary. And, and if you want Saturdays off every other weekend, we can do that too. Word? Say no more. Wait, what was Dolph Ziggler's storylines on SmackDown and Raw before that? Nothing really? Okay.
He was in a tag team with Rude doing stuff, and now he's still in a tag team.
And then it's like, and on top of that, we're going to have you be NXT champion for a while. I'm going to be a champion too? Say word. Yeah, I'm there. Say no more. I'm there.
Now, again, in that particular situation, I feel like that to me is not a sellout moment in doing that. That to me is, I work for a company and now the creative team has a different idea of what I want to do. I didn't leave and go and try and build something great. Like, again, as a entrepreneur myself, what do I look like going back to a 9-to-5? It just don't make sense. Like, I don't.
It's like I said, it's that whole situation is a double-edged sword, because it's like me and you. Let's say I worked at we both worked at a radio station, and then we leave said radio station, build our own network, but then me and you have an argument, and I decide to quit this network. Fuck you and this network. I leave. The old radio station gets wind. Oh, Ronnie quit. Yo, Ron, what's going on? Yeah, my brother, man. This guy, like, I wanted to split. Like, we were doing, revenue stream was shooting up to 20 mil. I wanted to split that 50-50, but my brother wanted to do some 70-30 shit. Oh, cool. I mean, if you came back here, we could definitely negotiate 50-50. Really? Yeah. I mean, your voice has been off the chart since you left. It's like, you know what I mean? And no, then I think yes, that might make me a sellout, but I'm also just showing you how easily somebody could be influenced to go back to some shit if you offering a better offer. Like, yeah, you guys would do that for me, dude. How far did we go back? Remember the time when we? Yeah, I mean, you signed with us again. You know, fuck Markell. We'll give you stock options. We'll do this. We'll do that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I mean, yeah, let's fucking do it. This is awesome. Yeah, I'll be back, and then you get excited. I'm back here again. Meanwhile, people on the radio like, yo, he left his brother, fucking sellout. But I can't hear y'all because I'm telling them where to put the furniture in my new mansion. So I can't really hear what you guys are talking about. So, you know, now I'm not saying me personally, but I'm just saying that could, you know, it's hard to hear people over lots of power and money sometimes.
But what you're talking about in that situation is you're talking about some guys going from one job to another. That's what you're talking about. This is not the same thing.
No, but I'm saying, like, let's say when I left said job, me and you built that new radio station up from the ground up, and we went on this tangent about, you know, building and all this, and then I had went back to the other place. People probably would be like, yo, this motherfucker said all this stuff and built this new company. Now he going right back to WPL or whatever.
I understand the analogy. What I'm saying is, again, personally for me, for Cody, before we move on, for me, Cody, I personally feel like it takes a weak mind to do that. It also takes a desperation to do something like that. Like in the example that you're making.
Oh, and you know what else we didn't think about? Oh, sorry to cut you off. We didn't think about that this decision could also not be 100% his. It could be his wife's. And I'm not saying like before that, Cody, if we ever meet, I'm not saying like you're henpecked or nothing, you got listen to, but I'm just saying like it could be a situation too where let's say Cody is like shopping around for other companies, other stuff. Let's say WWE was just one of those phone calls out of other places that called the things he was thinking about doing. Let's say that the deal that they were offering just sounds the best, but Cody's like, you know what? I'm not probably gonna go back to New Japan for a while before I retire. What if Brandy was like, but WWE, like they're offering you $40 million. They're off, you know, I mean, your spouse could play a role in that too. It could be, I mean, like, you'd be an idiot not to take that deal. Like, it could be like, you think I should, you know what I mean? Like, it could be that. That's another thing I just thought of too that could be a factor in, you know, like, because think about it. If you were to take a new job somewhere tomorrow, I'm pretty sure that half of that discussion would take place with Danielle. But you asking her, you think this is a good idea, this and that, whatever, before you shook hands or you know, or signed anything. So that could play a role too.
Once again, I can understand if that's the kind of relationship you have with your spouse. I feel like, yes, you do discuss important life decisions with, you know, your significant other. And I just can't fathom two people going from creating something or being a part of something, a creation of something, and then things go south. Like, okay, let's say, for instance, something went bad with Tony Khan and they both decided, you know what, fuck it, like this ain't working out. This is not what I signed up for. I'm out. And, you know, to me, shopping around to where you left before, to me, I need, for him personally, I need a conversation from an explanation from, like, he don't owe me shit, but I need an explanation from him, because all Ronnie keeps saying is a paycheck. We know you. All it takes is a few extra dollars in your life.
Well, I'm thinking, you. Well, don't just say me. Think about half of America. I mean, at the end of the day, we all have to make it. At the end of the day, we all have to make ends meet. And money talks. I always repeat that phrase from Danny DeVito from Twins. Money talks and bullshit walks. So I don't care if you work at McDonald's or you're the CEO of Forbes. Money is always an important factor. Even when people who say it's not, it is, because it is. Like, ain't nobody doing no shit. If money wasn't an important factor, then Comic-Con and places like that, it would be free to meet half these celebrities that we meet. Because if you think about it, there was a day in time many years ago before we were born where half these events were free.
What I'm saying to you, and those were when it was like a flea market, so you were basically still coming there to like spend money. But the point that I'm saying though is that you're saying it in a sense of like $1 million man, everybody's got a price. And my thing is that I guess I just don't see it that way.
Then it doesn't always have to be monetary too. It could be other options that come along with that would just sweeten the deal.
That's the point I'm saying to you, is that when you go back to, well, the paycheck seems like it was big. No, the paycheck doesn't. It could be, yes. There's other factors to people when you're already rich, or if you already have money. That's not the thing that's gonna hook you in to get you to go in there. It's got to be like, all right, so you're gonna you're gonna have this, you're gonna have this, you're gonna have this, you're gonna have this. Like, there's got to be a list of other items. There's benefits to working here, and that's the part where if Cody does show up at WrestleMania this weekend, I kind of need to understand, in order for me to look his way and not turn the fucking channel and not give a shit about what he does, because that's where I'm at. If this guy shows up, I'm done with Cody.
For me, here's what I hope happens this weekend at WrestleMania. I hope that Seth Rollins is actually fighting Shane McMahon, since they said he's coming back. They can have their little match. And like I said before, I hope that maybe it's announced that Cody is like the new head of creative for NXT. That's what I like. I'm hoping he's going to take some type of behind the scene role, and maybe he's going to help turn that show around. Like I said before, watching that product now is just.
I don't want. And I understand that. That's
but also, I'm just saying, like, that would be. And this is just me talking also from a fan point of view too, because I'm like, well, his father helped led the charge to put NXT on the map. So it would be awesome if his son took up that mantle to help restore it to its glory days.
I feel like you need to research that, because I feel like in order to debunk that myth, he was a big part of training those people, but he wasn't a big part of creation of NXT.
I'm not. That's not what I mean. You're missing the point. I'm saying, though, that Dusty Rhodes was there. Dusty Rhodes was behind the scenes for a lot of things that happened at NXT. Back when Ricochet, Adam Cole, and what's his name? Kieran Dane, when half these motherfuckers were just starting over there, and Dusty Rhodes was the guy behind the scenes talking to these guys, coaching them with Triple H and Shawn Michaels and other people. So I'm just saying, like, it would be awesome if Cody was taking up sort of like that sort of role, like a mentor, training, and all that type of role like that. Like, if I heard an announcement saying that he signed a deal with WWE to do that, I think that would be awesomer than him showing up at Mania to fight Seth Rollins. Because, yeah, at the same time, I don't really feel like Cody has anything to prove in the ring with them. So I don't really need to see him in any wrestling matches.
That to me is the big number one thing of like me hoping that we don't see him at all. I don't need to see him behind the scene. I don't need to see him do shit in WWE. That time in your life is past, sir. And I'm okay with that. There's plenty of other folk that can use Cody Rhodes' knowledge of the business than WWE. Personally, let me tell him a secret. Cody, we don't fucking need you in WWE. We don't need you over there. No one needs you. No one needs Cody Rhodes in WWE. There is nobody going, you know what this product needs? Some Cody Rhodes sprinkled on it. They don't need it. It's unnecessary. It's like getting. Tell me this: if you what's your favorite ice cream?
Strawberry.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna put some pickles in it.
I don't need pickles in my ice cream.
Wait, no, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. I'm gonna add some bacon on there too.
I don't need that either.
You want some Captain Crunch on there?
No, I just take some plain strawberry ice cream.
You want the plain strawberry ice cream? Oh, that's cool, man. That's just really good. Wait, no, don't put some Fruity Pebbles on it. That's good. The Fruity Pebbles might go for it. Yeah, look, imagine the person going like, here, put that on there. Here, take it. And now you're sitting there like, thank you. I guess I'm gonna eat this because it's here. So what else am I gonna do? Like, that's the thing where it's like, of course, as wrestling fans, we're going to have to accept whatever the outcome is. Personally, for me, I would prefer it, and I know your thing is you don't want to see him on TV, you want to see him behind the scenes because you have this hope in NXT 2.0 returning when it's
no, I haven't. Let's drop the 2.0 and let's need to be rebranded again, because what we're watching right now, you know what we're watching, like, it's just like a joke. It's not good. And no spite, I always say that, no spite to any of the wrestlers. It's just like, this is not wrestling. They turned it into like some little cheesy bopper soap opera, and it's like, I can recall the dope ass days with Ember Moon versus Asuka and Ricochet versus Adam Cole. They had some dope ass memorable moments. But when Sami Zayn got fucking power bombed on the edge of the damn ring post by Kevin Owens years ago, like, they had some impactful moments that made you go, yo. And they haven't had anything impactful since. Like Dolph Ziggler coming there and, winning the title and shaking things up. Okay. That got my attention for a second, just because I'm like, what the hell is Dolph Ziggler doing here? But now once that settles in, I'm like, okay. I now remember that the product's not that good anymore.
To me personally, and I'm just messing around my light here. To me, what NXT is at this point, from the little passing that I've done there, before we move on to our next segment, for NXT 2.0. 2.0 to me is basically a person who watched a Marvel movie and ran out and made the movie just based on never reading a comic. They only seen one fucking Marvel movie, and then they ran out and said, I'm gonna make a superhero movie. And they're gonna run out and base it on, have you ever read a comic? Nope. Have you ever watched a comic book TV show? Nope. I'm gonna go ahead and just make it based on this one movie that I saw, because
do you know who the main character is? Yeah, of course, it's Stacey Parker. It's like no, it's actually Peter Parker. Whatever, let's make this movie.
I'm gonna tell you, every single one of the NXT, and this is just, Ronnie is not bold enough to do it. I'm gonna just take a shot at the NXT 2.0 roster. Every single one of you mofos over there, I'm not even gonna curse for it, because you ain't worth the curse words. To the extent there, every single one of those guys over there is a cheap, no frills imitation of WWE and WCW and AEW gimmicks that work for those people, but don't work for you. Let me call out one guy right now.
OMG, I was gonna say, because they do have
LA Knight.
Who?
LA Knight. Do you know that guy?
Oh god, yeah, because there is a woman they have. I forgot. I think her last name is Legend or whatever, but she literally has almost the identical gimmick to Bianca Belair. And I had never seen her before until I had watched, like, this past Tuesday. She came up on the screen like, and she was, and I was like, whoa, wait, is that? I'm like, it's almost like when you go into a corner bodega and you see Power Warriors and the pack, and they're like Power Warriors, but they look close as hell to Power Rangers. But like,
I'm gonna go ahead and say this, and if LA Knight ever sees this, my name is Markell, and I approve what I'm saying. And I'm saying to you, LA Knight, your gimmick is a cheap imitation of The Rock. And when you finish the show, if you finish this, once you finish this show, I'll tell you this to you, Ronnie, and I say this to the audience out there listening or watching this. Go ahead and watch a promo in the ring by The Rock. The mannerisms, the movement.
Hey, just to defend him for a second, that could be his hero. You never know. Could be an influence, like could be a homage to him because that's his favorite wrestlers.
Hey, here's a little piece of advice, right? So if this is your hero and this, that, and the other, I need you to do me a favor, WWE. I need you to hit the pause button on NXT 2.0. Take this high school play version of wrestling and take that shit back to the gymnasium at the pop.
I don't know you were gonna say that.
Like, why is this a fucking Tuesday night show that you want people to participate in and watch as if it's a viable product for everybody to sit here and enjoy? Most of the roster is green as fucking baby shit. Like, it is just it's ridiculous. And like it's like they hired a bunch of actors to be wrestlers. And it's like
that's what it kind of feels like. And I'm like, that's why I said no gripe against the wrestler, but it really feels like they hired a bunch of like Shakespearean actors and they said, okay, and this almost like what's the name? Glow on Netflix. Like they hired a bunch of people and told them you're wrestlers, and they're like, okay, figure this out. Like that's what the acting seems like. It doesn't seem like as organic as it used to in the older days. That's what I'm saying. Like maybe Cody can help restore it to like if that's the role that he was gonna play. But I think since we are still talking about wrestling, we could also talk about Razor Ramon and Triple H a little bit too.
Oh, absolutely. Shout outs to Triple H for recovering from COVID and his blood clots, which is very interesting because that's what he was suffering from, consistent blood clots, which caused several cardiovascular episodes that happened with him and have forced him to retire. Which, again, for me, it's like, I literally go like this. Like he hasn't fought in years. Like he fought in like Saudi Arabia in that terrible tag team match.
Wait, I thought you meant that happened to him. I was like, holy shit. Oh, you mean that?
Oh, yeah, I mean in terms of like him retiring, it's just like, but dude, it's been at least 10 years now since you've been the dude in a suit and tie being the authority. Like it's been a long.
I mean, every once in a while he does come back and wrestle. I mean, the last time we saw when he fucked up his arm when he had that tag team match between Undertaker and Kane and like that. But I meant I thought that, maybe somewhere down the line he'd have a last match against somebody, Goldberg, somebody. But unfortunately, due to that, I think it sucks. It sucks more the fact that he had to announce that, hey man, I'm like he has the what did he say? Yeah, like a defibrillator or something down his heart.
He's got a pacemaker.
Pacemaker, like that he has that. Like when he said that in that interview, that's what he didn't even have to tell me it was done. I knew, oh shit, like yeah, that's done right there in terms of in-ring run around and stuff. If Triple H ever gets in the ring to do any type of gimmick, I feel like it would just be like someone falling into him and that's it, but it wouldn't be any real action from him. So that sucks. That sucks for me. Like he's one of my all-time favorites of all time. I still would love to meet the guy if you want to do a meet and greet anywhere in New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, anytime soon, like, or in the future.
Yeah, he's I mean, again, we can always. I'm pretty sure there's always ways to get to this guy. I mean, and
I gotta, what else I gotta say? Watching that interview with him, I was like, Triple H is such a manly man that even in his moment of weakness, where like he talked about like, the uncertainty of coming, going under for the surgery and not knowing if this is your last time seeing your loved ones. And he it seemed like he wanted to cry when he was saying that. You could feel like the manliness in him kicking in to be like, fuck it up, suck that shit up. I was like,
get back in there.
Yeah, get back up in there. Ain't nobody crying right now. Like, you could hear it like in his tone when he was like saying all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, that was a sucky moment. But I'm glad that he's still alive. I'm glad that he can spend more majority of the time with his family and his daughters and stuff. So that's a good plus. And come on, this guy had one hell of a wrestling career. I think I had pulled up his accolades because come on, man. This guy was 5-time Intercontinental Champion, 3-time tag team, unified champion, 2-time European title, which is not even a title that exists anymore. 14-time world champion, Triple Crown champion, Grand Slam champion, and a 2-time Royal Rumble and King of the Ring winner. So I mean, the guy fought Sting, Undertaker. He fought everybody in the business that even fucking matters. So lost some, won some. He did have a streak going on at Mania where he was just straight losing. I know what that was about. That was like favors, but he had a streak where he kept winning. Then it was like after he fought the Undertaker, like after every match after that, it was like he kept losing at Mania. I was like, God damn it.
Because the one thing that he was doing that WWE doesn't do anymore is put people over that need to be put over. I don't care if, this weekend Bianca Belair wins. I don't care if Ronda Rousey wins. And the reason being for them is that putting those people over don't matter anymore, because if Bianca Belair gets put over, then it's like a do-over, and we're supposed to get emotional and pretend like she didn't just win last year.
Well, I would say it's only a sort of a redemption, because her title reign for the SmackDown title was like what, a couple weeks, and then she lost. It was like come on, man, like she deserved a lengthy title reign. Like come on, like she basically got the Big E. She got the Big E and Kofi Kingston treatment. She had the title for.
No, they got it worse. They got it worse.
No, they got it worse. But what I mean is, like, they didn't really have very long title runs. Like, she had the belt for like a month, and then Becky Lynch came. It was almost like she was just holding it for Becky. Well, we don't know what to do for the month of March, so you're gonna be champ till Becky come back, because Becky coming back next. Okay.
She won it in April and lost it in like August or July. Like she lost it at SummerSlam, which was again a squad.
Yeah, there we go. Because they had her fighting like the same person until like Becky came back. I was like, come on, dude. Oh, Bailey. Yeah, it was Bailey. She kept having a feud back and forth with Bailey. It was like her and Bailey. And then Becky came back, and I was like,
to me, I feel like if that's the case, then if Bianca Belair wins, then we're going to see the return of Bailey as her first contender for person who's going to fight her again. And we're going to see Bailey and Bianca again. It's like, what the hell? Like, what?
Yeah, probably.
Like, why do we
play what else? There was something else I was thinking of with Triple H. Oh, that's with Triple H. Can you recall one of your favorite Triple H matches? I know that's putting you on the spot, but I'm thinking myself as I can tell you, I think one of mine was probably the first time he fought the Undertaker.
I will say, let's see, favorite. I would say any of the matches between him and The Rock, because I felt like him and The Rock was such great. I was just talking about this earlier with you when we were watching Rampage. A great baby face is challenged by an even greater heel, and vice versa. Like a great heel is challenged by, a great baby face. And they do, like, the heels are the ones that do the heavy lifting to make baby faces great, because they put through them so much adversity that it becomes a thing where it's like, oh my God, the heroes are getting their ass handed to them and they're just getting pounded on every week, and then finally the hero triumphs. That whole story from way back in the Western days and beyond that, like, is still being told now. And I feel like people like Triple H are definitely no matter who he fought, whether he was feuding with Austin, feuding with Kurt Angle, feuding with Mankind, feuding with The Rock, he pretty much feuded with everybody that was significant from the Attitude Era. So,
that's true.
you know, that's a testament to him as a cerebral assassin, which is like, I can fight anybody and have a great match. But I say his greatest, in terms of greatest match, I can't think of a specific one, but I would say greatest rivalry was Triple H and The Rock. That's
Triple
one of
H and The Rock. I'd also say Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Probably the first time that those are some great matches too. Like first time he like turned on Shawn Michaels and then they were fighting each other. I'm like, they had some really good in-ring performances too.
For me personally, I would put those in the feuds. I put those sort of lower down on the card for me, just because they were always friends. So it wasn't that long before they were just like, "Are we buddies again?" Like I love to see them. I'm more interested and entertained watching them as friends than I see them like, "Oh no, Triple H just pedigreed him."
Oh yeah, don't forget about when they first formed DX. I think it was way back when it was supposed to be Triple H versus Shawn Michaels. It was either for the European title or was it for the Intercontinental title? One of those. But if you remember, Shawn Michaels literally just laid down and let him pin him. And I remember that because they rung the bell and Triple H, he like knocked him down, but it was like he barely even touched him and he fell. And then he was running back and forth, like just bouncing off the rope back and forth. And everybody's like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on? And then he did like the giant fake splash. And he pinned him like 1, 2, and then like, he's a champion. And I think if it wasn't that night, I think it was a little bit after that when they first formed DX. I don't remember right off initially.
I agree. Again, Triple H has been a part of, one of the greatest factions of all time, DX. And also he was also really great friends with another guy who, God rest his soul, Scott Hall. You guys already know, or maybe you don't know Scott Hall if you're not into wrestling or haven't really been paying attention to the news. Scott Hall passed away, unfortunately. Here's a fun little.
He was 63, and we're talking about Scott Hall. I have to go. Hey yo,
it's me, the bad guy. Like he was a very, very memorable guy. No matter where he was, Scott Hall is like absolutely one of the most memorable wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, he definitely is. I feel like if somebody said like who's memorable. Like, I'd probably say Warrior, Macho Man, Razor Ramon, because they just have this thing. He had the thing about him where he had the gold chains, the toothpick, and he kind of gave off that I don't give a fuck kind of vibe. Because
it's also one of the gimmicks too that you realize the fact that nobody else could do him. Like no one else could do Razor Ramon. Like anybody. So these guys are handed these gimmicks a lot of times, and they're like, make it work. This guy, you hand any other guy that gimmick, and they don't have the machismo, of Razor Ramon, of Scott Hall to do that.
And Razor Ramon's been there since he was there since it was WWF. So he was there a long ass time. Even back when they had that video game for Sega Genesis. Where you like remember that one where it was like a free for all, beating the shit out of each other. Like
it was an amazing game that I still play to this day. Nobody with the Razor. Like yes, I remember that was the WrestleMania the arcade game. I still play that game. He literally like slaps you in his hand, turns into a razor. Like if you guys don't know that game, it's for Sega Genesis and Super
Nintendo. Man, I can't think of it. I should have fucking wrote that down. There is a wrestler now. Is it Damian Priest? There's a wrestler now that still does like the Razor's Edge as like a signature. I think it's Damian Priest. I want to say it's Damian Priest. One of his moves in his arsenal, I think, is the Razor's Edge.
There's another guy who does it, who actually does it because of Scott Hall. He's in AEW. His name is Ethan Page.
Okay. I knew it was somebody else. I knew it was somebody else.
Literally, when Scott Hall passed away, he posted it. He's like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like my whole gimmick of like all ego Ethan Page, my whole gimmick from the shirts I wear to showing a little bit of chest hair, like I'm literally like mimicking my favorite wrestler of all time, Razor Ramon.
And I think he has I want to say he has a son that's in wrestling too.
Yes, he does. He does have a wrestling. I want to know.
Cody Hall.
Yeah, I want to know if you know the story of how Scott Hall is responsible for Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I have no idea.
You don't know that story? So I'm gonna tell you real quick. So do you remember the famous moment in Madison Square Garden in the steel cage called the curtain call, which is basically when Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were leaving WWE, but they were considered like traitors, and they wanted them to leave and this and the other. So they had a match with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and it was back in the day of like people recording stuff on VHS cameras, and you can look this up on YouTube. Basically, like they did the whole Too Sweet thing because they were sending them off, because that was literally their last match. Now,
yeah, that moment in the ring when they were in the steel cage, I remember that.
Now, here's how you again. Scott Hall is the Kevin Bacon of wrestling. This guy is like 60 degrees of separation of everything great that we know and love from wrestling. This guy is almost single-handedly, along with Kevin Nash, the very reason that we got the entire Monday Night Wars, which is considered some of the greatest wrestling of all time.
So, yeah, of course. Yeah, founding the NWO and stuff. Shit was amazing.
Founding the NWO, but before I get to that, if you go back to that night, so that night there were three guys who there were two guys in that ring that still worked for WWE. And it was Triple H, who just said we retired, and Shawn Michaels. At the time, Shawn Michaels was at the top. At the time, Triple H is not at the top. So when they got in the back and they did that in front of the audience and pretty much broke kayfabe, Vince McMahon was pissed. So he couldn't go after the top guy. So he pointed over to the guy who would eventually, in many years later, wind up screwing his daughter and making grandkids, Triple H, and he punished him. Now, here's how, without knowing it, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash are responsible for Stone Cold Steve Austin. So the punishment for Triple H was supposed to win the King of the Ring that year. But that year, instead, he didn't let Triple H win. He instead let this other wrestler by the name of the Ringmaster win the King of the Ring and create Austin 316. The first time he ever said Austin.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yes. So if they never did that in the ring, we would not have Austin 316 because
I remember when Stone Cold first came to WWE. I want to say Ted DiBiase was his manager. Yeah, when he first came and he was a ringmaster and he had the blonde hair and he was doing the sleeper hold. And he was the $1 million champion. That's like how he started. And then I think they dropped that. I think he dropped that persona at King of the Ring, and he was proclaiming like, "Now Austin 316 means I whooped your ass."
Austin 316 itself, I don't know if you know where that came from. That you know which wrestler gave him
that?
Well,
I was gonna say, I know that that's actually from the Bible, but he just changed it. But I don't know what other wrestler.
He got that from. Well, Austin is not in the Bible, just so you know.
No, I know that.
But Austin 316 came from one of Stone Cold's mentors, which is Jake the Snake Robert, who was also friends with Scott Hall, like very close friends with Scott Hall and DDP, and Stone Cold used to sleep on his couch and all this other stuff. So the funny thing is, like, when they left, like, Stone Cold basically went off and shot like a rocket and became Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then, funny enough, WWE was at its height with the Attitude Era. Right on the other side of the pond was WCW, this fledgling company coming up. And then all of a sudden, the name of the Outsiders name actually came from Vince McMahon, because when they came in the back, he literally kicked Kevin Nash and Scott Hall out of the building and called them Outsiders. Like, get these fucking traitor outsiders out of here. That's the other. So they took that name and went over to WCW and fucking coined it as the Outsiders. And it's funny because, like,
that's fucking awesome.
Now wait, here's the funny thing too. Now, this is another way Scott Hall is responsible for fucking like the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars. So there was a if you notice during that period of time where Triple H was getting, like, Hunter S. Helmsley and Shawn Michaels is on top and he was a champion, there was a guy that used to be on top that used to wear yellow and red that didn't really know where his career was at that time. His name was Hulk Hogan. Now, Hulk Hogan was friends, once again, 6 degrees of separation, was friends with Scott Hall. He called over to WWE going, hey, like, I just wanted to see, like, Scott Hall is there and like, we can maybe work something out and like we could do something together. And they're like, oh, well, that piece of shit is over. Those guys are gone. Those outsiders no longer here. They traded on a company. I don't want to hear nothing from those bastards. Hang up. And then Hulk Hogan's like, wow, Scott Hall, my boy, is no longer with like WWE. So he called Scott Hall and he's like, hey, like, what are you doing now? Oh, I'm about to go do this like whole invasion angle with this big company, WCW, this, that, and the other. He's like, really? I'm looking for something new for my career. Can I help you? And I'm like, what the fuck? This guy is responsible for everything. It's like, it's crazy. I was like, what? Like Hulk Hogan had a conversation with fucking Scott Hall and they decided for the first time ever, the biggest fucking baby face in all of wrestling
to make him a heel.
These two guys and become literally.
I mean, I can remember that day like it was yesterday, watching like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash beat up Macho Man and everybody, and I'm like,
jumped in there.
And then when Hulk Hogan showed up, I'm like, yeah, he gonna get in there. And when he leg dropped Macho Man, I mean, like, yeah, that moment, yeah. I mean, say what you will about Hogan, but that moment definitely changed the wrestling industry. For like, holy shit.
Who was in the ring, Ronnie? Scott Hall. Rest in peace, brother. You are responsible for good wrestling. He's responsible. If you think about it, he's also responsible for the first ever ladder match. So
yeah, let's not. Yeah, I was just about to say, let's not forget. If it wasn't for him and Shawn Michaels putting on those dope ass clinics with the ladder matches they had, it may not be as popular. Boys? It may not be as popular as it is today.
It wouldn't be. It literally wouldn't even be a thing. Like because people wouldn't consider. Well, like they had to put on a show to show all of the acrobatic and athletic and cool and dangerous things you could freaking do with a ladder.
Oh yeah, like if they would have put on that match and it would have been lame and boring. And yeah, other wrestlers would be like, nah, I ain't doing that. But yeah, more people put on future ladder matches. They're like, oh, remember what Shawn Michaels? Let's try to outdo that. Like, because like the Hardys and a lot of other people also had some very memorable ladder matches too.
It's funny to me because again, if you go back, again, I'm telling you, Scott Hall, you heard it here first. Scott Hall is the Kevin Bacon of wrestling. God rest his soul. The two people that were in the audience there doing one of those Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon matches was Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, that tag team, and CM Punk. They were all in there in the audience watching. Wow, these cool ladders. They're fighting. And I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure like the fights and stuff that they had definitely were inspiring to these guys to later on in their career. Freaking Jeff Hardy can't stop jumping off of shit.
Like, yeah, I'm like, he's way older now. He's still jumping off shit.
This guy yo, I'm telling you, the stunt he just pulled in that wherever the heck they were, I think they were in Texas. I was scared. I was like, oh my God, like I hope he's gonna be okay. Because this guy, dude,
60 some odd Euro Sting jumping off fucking balconies still. I think they good.
They're so good at what they do that they can do crazy stuff on purpose. I give shout out to
and Darby. I feel like if not, and I feel like one person who does it very well nowadays, he's a lot younger, but Sammy Guevara. Because Sammy will go up a ladder or something, and he'll look at the audience and be like, it's probably a stupid idea, but I can do it anyway.
That's
because
almost
he knows that that's a memorable moment and it'll get a pop. To be 10, 15 years from now, you'll remember that time when he fought. I still remember, I think he fought Darby Allin. I still remember that time he like fucking did a backflip and went through the table, but Darby moved. Like, oh, she just went through nothing but bare ass table. Like, oh shit,
that shit hurt.
But yeah, Razor Ramon. Scott. I actually didn't know his name was Scott Oliver Hall.
Got Oliver Hall. Yep. I mean, I watched the documentary with him or whatever, and he went through some things or whatever. The thing is that, you know, all of those things that he went through for like alcohol and drug addiction, stuff like that, that stuff to me doesn't necessarily tarnish his career as a wrestler. That stuff just makes it much harder when you go into like surgery and complications and things like that. Because that, no matter how much you recover, that stuff has taken a toll on your body. So that's the challenge, is that those kind of things. It almost reminds me of like, it made me think of you know, there's a movie that I was looking forward to that I heard that they were making again. I heard that they were making G.I. Jane again, and it was going to be starring Jada Pinkett Smith.
Shit. Was that Will Smith? Oh shit! Did he just come into your apartment and smack shit out you? What the fuck just happened?
Just smack the shit out of me.
Wait, no, Will, no.
Listen, that is going to be the butt of a joke for the rest of 2022. The most memorable moment in 2022, sadly, is going to be Chris Rock getting slapped shit out of.
I swear, if I could see Will tomorrow, remember that scene in Ron Burgundy when the dude was like, "Why, Ron Burgundy? Why?" I'm like, I saw Will. I'm like, "Why, Will? Why? You were my hero." Like,
he's like, "Shut up! I'm gonna give you a 5."
Just so. It is as ironic as the time when we met, when we were trying to meet The Rock, and we said, man, the people's champ, like this guy's always about the fans. You know, for a job, The Rock stopping for us. 5.5 hours later, this guy's walk right past. Maybe not intentionally, but you know, walk right past. Like, same thing, like, holy shit, this is fucking crazy, man. Like, Will Smith, who like Mr. Inspiration himself, like, he's always putting out inspirational things on, you know, like about life. And he was the last motherfucker on the planet that I would think would lose his shit. Not just lose his shit, but lose his shit on live TV and assault somebody. Cause I'm gonna tell you, like, you know me, since we were little, I've always loved the Oscars. Still dream of going there one day. Like, I'm watching this show, and then that segment comes up. Chris Rock makes the jokes with Javier Bardem, and who I didn't even know was married to Penelope Cruz. I didn't even know that he was married. I'm like, holy shit, okay. But made jokes about them, didn't think anything of it, laughed it off. And he got to Will and Jada, and I'm like, what's Chris? I mean, come on. First and foremost, we know that Chris Rock is a comedian. We know that he fucking roasts people like all the fucking time. Like, nobody's safe. Like, roast people. So the second that he took aim at them, I was like, oh man, I was already looking forward. What is he gonna say about Will and Jada? And then like he said the G.I. Jane thing, moved on, tried to present the award for the best documentary or whatever. Will Smith comes up on stage. And then like hits him. And then at first I was like, oh, whoa, like that was crazy. I'm like, that's like a crazy thing they've scripted into the show. I'm telling Jill, I'm like, that's scripted. And then like he goes back to his seat. And then I remember like they blurted out what Chris Rock was saying.
Keep your wife's name out my what? I can't.
Yeah, and I was like, and it wasn't until the second time he said it that I was like, whoa. I'm like, Will don't look. I'm confused. That don't look like he joking. And then it was like, and then he presented the award, and Questlove, they won best documentary for his film. And then like they went to commercial. And I remember like checking social media. And then it was like not even 5 minutes later, that shit was all over social media. And like somebody had translated it without the censorship. And then that's when I heard it back again where Chris Rock was like, wow, Will Smith just smacked shit out of me. And then, then I heard him like, keep my wife's name out your fucking. I'm like, oh shit, he's not joking.
This is not
and I'm like, oh, this guy's not joking. It's like, what's going on? But at the end of the day, it's like a comedian and a half comedian, because Will Smith is also a fucking comedian to a degree. It's like, also you were standing in you were sitting
with me, Will.
But also, he was sitting in the front row. I just, the whole situation just ironic. Like, there's just irony in the whole situation, because they always tell you Like to this day, if you go to a comedy show, yeah, I don't care if you go to a comedy show for a low up and coming comic. They always tell you never sit in the front if you can't take criticism, don't sit in the front area because the comic it's not like they may use you, they might poke jokes and stuff at you. So okay, so I thought that was the other irony in the fact that these motherfuckers were sitting right. They weren't like in the back somewhere. They were sitting right up front, and a comedian came out and started roasting people. It's like, and has Chris Rock done that? Man, let me see. Has Chris Rock done that at the Academy Awards before? Yes, dozens of fucking times. So,
well, no, he hasn't hosted dozens of times, but yes, he's done.
No. But I mean, like in general, I don't even have to close my eyes and count to know that. Has Chris Rock been at the Academy Awards before and probably said a joke about a musician or an actor that was in the audience? It's like nobody else thought, oh, let me attack this person. It's like, I don't know what he was thinking. But I do think, like what I was saying before, I do think like the backlash from this, I think personally, like Will Smith needs to take a hiatus from like the mainstream scene for a minute just because it's not a cool look for him.
I'm with you. I feel like he's gonna do that because he is an actor and he only does like one project every year or so. So that's really easy for him to do. What also is kind of sad from the same situation is that you can see the effects now that we've gotten a little bit more of the information a few days later to discover that Jada wasn't like, behind the scenes going, go hit him, go knock his head off. And that Will consciously made this decision on his own as a thing to go and protect his family. And he even tried to slide that in there when he was getting his Oscar speech, which, by the way, got completely overshadowed by this,
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, Will Smith won an Oscar, by the way, for his role in King Richard. That's what I said. No one's talking about that at all.
Nobody's talking about that. The thing that that hurt that is really like sad in this situation. It seems to me that Will is suffering the effects of the first ever scandal that we ever got from the Smith's house, which is that whole red table talk where basically Jada just sat in front of this man's face and just said like, yeah, I had an entanglement or basically in layman's term, I was fucking around with somebody else because me and Will here were kind of broken up. Like basically she turned into Ross from Friends. We were on a break and talking about some guy that she was messing around with. And basically you can see in Will's face as he's tearing up, and you can see that within that time frame, he messed with somebody else. We don't know. It's speculated that he messed around with Margot Robbie. We don't have any proof. He didn't say it. But at the same time, he felt like he was embarrassed and he wasn't, fulfilling his duty as a man of the house and protecting his family and making his family feel comfortable and secure. Even though he's out there, like you said earlier in the conversation, talking about how, he's motivating people and he wants people to do great things in their life and this, that, and the other. But that's all fine and dandy if you can't keep your house right. Like, so that's more where in his life, he was feeling like this here was the last straw, which was stupid. But at the same time, for him, you can tell that this whole thing and everything, there's a lot of stuff that I feel like has gone on
that needs to be unpacked, and he's probably suffering in silence, kind of.
There is definitely some anger within this guy because you can see how this guy went from when they showed the camera, Will was laughing. Jada made a weird face, like, that's a little, I don't really like
she kind of like rolled her eyes, like, oh boy, okay, Chris and these dumbass jokes.
And now for him, he probably looked at her and then went, oh, she doesn't really like, she's trying to play it off like she's okay with that, but she's really not okay with that. And I'm pretty sure, like, I'm going to say I'm willing to bet money that I believe somewhere within their relationship, they've had a conversation about him not sticking up for her. And so, and that, how like if you're in a relationship, somebody can just say something to you, and it's like a little nugget that gets stuck in your head. They plant a little thing in your head, and then you just like you're thinking about it, and it keeps coming back up, and it's like, I am a good father. It's just like something comes out so much later. It's like a little,
but it's so many other like it, like first and foremost, ain't none of us perfect. We've all done stupid shit before, but I feel like he didn't think in that moment because there were better ways to handle that. He could have even like, you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he still could have been reckless. He could have just did that shit off backstage when they went to commercial break. He could have came up to Chris back after like, hey yo man, like he could have came backstage like, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Like he could have done that just backstage, and Chris Rock probably would have done the same thing. Whoa, sorry, I didn't know you. Sorry about that. But I know probably he was trying to. At the same time, he was angry and wasn't thinking. I think he was trying to make a point at the same time, and that's why he probably did it on live TV.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. I personally don't think Will Smith reacted out of blind rage. He did. First and foremost, this guy gave Chris Rock the weirdest fucking slap I've ever seen.
It was like
it was like.
Maybe it was like some self-defense class he learned or something. Maybe he like maybe he learned that in a self-defense class or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it just was a weird hit to a point of like, I'm going to hit you in such a way that I'm only going to use 2% of my power.
That's why I thought that it was fake at first, but then I know there were people that was like, it was a setup. I'm like, well, you got to think about that. If it was a setup, was the point to ruin to tarnish? Hey, I'm gonna ruin my night that I'm gonna win an Oscar. That makes sense to me. It's like no. It's like that's the only reason I know that shit wasn't planned on no fucking. Because was the plan to make Chris Rock look amazing and make me look like an asshole? Because if that was their plan, great job.
They were like, oh, it made Chris Rock's ticket sales goes up. Yes, it did make Chris Rock's ticket sales go up simply because people wanted to go out and support a guy who just got assaulted.
Like, not only that, but I feel like also it just makes people curious to know if like his tour is never going to be aired like on television. People want to know if he's going to mention anything about the incident during his act.
The first night back, he didn't shy away from it. He basically was like, I'm still processing what happened, and like I'm pretty sure as a comedian, I'm gonna probably have a special or something from this, which is true. Like you got to think about that in terms of like he is a comedian, so their process of life is their art. So I'm pretty sure there's going to become some jokes out of this whole thing. Right now, he's just trying to process it because it was a crazy thing that completely changed.
You know what else is crazy too? I always hear people on social media sort of like, "He was defending his wife." And I was like, he was defending his wife, right? Okay, so let me ask you, everybody that says that this: what happens to a regular guy on the street that's not a celebrity? If he decides to assault another guy because I'm defending my wife, you could possibly go to jail. Can you defend your wife from prison? No. It's like
you're gonna be having to defend your ass.
Like, dude. So it's like, yeah, that's not a good look, and even if you are defending your wife, it doesn't give you the right to assault someone because you didn't like what they said. I feel like you could say stuff, but unless they're attacking you first, then that part should never happen. And like I said before, I think that instead of doing the written apology on social media, I feel like this mofo should have made an actual video like me and you are doing right now. Hey guys, first and foremost to Chris Rock, I apologize, because that looks better. I don't know. Maybe you want to fire some people on your PR team, but that looks way better to make a video. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, look, we all fucking human. Let's say Will Smith don't fucking like Chris Rock. You know what? Action. Hey, Chris, man, I'm sorry. It's just a better fucking look that I took time to make a personal video to apologize to this man, apologize to my fans for what they saw. That's not the Will Smith you know and love, and I will be better. Yada yada yada. But if I just wrote on, if I did some crazy shit and then I just went on our social media and I just wrote like sorry, it's like, well, how the fuck do we even know Ronnie wrote that? Markell could have wrote that. Hey, Markell, you just post some shit saying I'm sorry. I gotta go get some lunch.
I'm gonna tell you like this, that I agree with you, and I honestly believe in my heart. I don't think Will Smith wrote that. I don't think he wrote because he just and I want to say that I don't. Now I am gonna preface that and say that I don't think it's such a bad thing that happened. In my opinion, what Will Smith said during his Oscar speech, once again, not out of anger, not out of rage. He was upset, and he's one of those people who, when he gets upset, he cries. He's very sensitive at this point in his life, right? So I personally feel like what he said in his speech is how he actually felt, which is you got to do whatever you feel is right. Like the guy he played in the, King Richard movie, to protect your family. Above all else, you got to protect your family. Now, the people that the reason why I feel like he's not apologizing to Chris Rock directly, like you're saying with the video, which is, we all know is something he can do. He's got a social media where he's on there doing videos. Now, to me personally, I feel like he was so upset, not only at himself that he allowed himself to be there, because nothing makes a person who is a positive person, who is a motivating person, and who is a person like him more disappointed than being disappointed in yourself. You have to go home and look yourself in the mirror, and with everything that people are saying, you got to go, fuck, they are right. And
and imagine waking up, turning on the news, and you see this shit, but it's you who did it. It's like, this shit is everywhere. I can't go on social media. I can't. It's every fucking where.
This dude can't even get his mail without the mailman going,
Or walk into Starbucks and they're like, Will, why did you smack Chris?
Oh no, he listen, you gotta remember, Will Smith is so rich. You know that he lives on a campus, right? Like he has
that's right. That's right. I forgot about it.
I does not go to a Starbucks outside of his campus. Like that's the kind of
somebody probably bringing it to him. Yeah.
Yes, he takes a shuttle to a part of his golf course where he sits out there and thinks about life.
I don't know. It's not uncommon, especially if he lives in California. It's not uncommon for celebrities to go get that shit themselves. This paparazzi pictures all the time of like Ben Affleck or different people just stopping at a bagel shop themselves getting their shit.
Ben Affleck ain't got Will Smith money.
Ben Affleck up there though. He rich.
There's Rich, and then there's Will Smith.
He ain't the richest man in Hollywood. I mean, I'm sure he up there, but
see, okay, I'm trying to think of comedians. Okay. Amy Schumer is rich. Eddie Murphy is rich as fuck.
Is rich as fuck.
Like, he's so rich that he could basically like support a bunch of people going to 4-year colleges for decades.
I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. Rich, Will Smith is like, he's as rich as like Richard Pryor, and Richard Pryor is deceased and still richer than half of us that are alive.
Just saying, man.
Because the money his family inherited from him is still more than some of us might ever see in a lifetime. Yeah, I get it, but yeah, hopefully, like I said, I hope that he takes some time, and and I think another thing would be like maybe a public apology from Chris Rock. Maybe like they got to do something in a public setting, maybe another award show or something, or show up at one of his shows. I don't know.
Hey, here's what I want. I'm gonna go ahead and do exactly what I personally want. Markell, you know what I want? I need Will Smith to show up, and he got to fucking stand there while Chris runs and Superman punches that nigga in the face.
No, that's no, because you got to think about you got to think about millions of young fans. Then you're just promoting violence. We can't do that.
Oh, but Will can? Huh?
No, no, he
Will
can't.
But Chris Rock
No, I'm saying he can, but it takes a lot. Now let's flip it for a second and look at that. It takes a lot. It takes a certain kind of man to get slapped in the face, not retaliate, and finish what you was doing. Because this man took a slap to the face. You think about that from Chris Rock's perspective. He got slapped in the face. Then Will Smith shouted and cursed at him, letting the audience know, like, oh shit, this is serious. So it was sort of also an embarrassing moment too for Chris Rock. He took that, like, all right, reset himself, went on with the presentation, awarded the best.
He was startled. He was startled for sure.
Yeah, he was startled for a second, and you can tell because he took a second, like, he took like 1 second, like, wow. And then he did the most. This is why Chris Rock is the man, still the man. He took a moment, got himself together, still managed to tell a joke and moved on. I'm like, yeah, because he was like, got himself together, like, okay, this is greatest. I think he said like the greatest, weirdest moments in television history or something.
Yeah,
something. He said something along those lines, but then he went on, presented the award, and then we're at the winner for the best Oscar for the documentary, and I'm like, and went on. I'm like, and it's funny because you can put several other men in that scenario, black or white, don't matter. It's just a question. Like, I wonder if it would have been the same result. Like I always said, The Rock. Like first people that came to my mind was like Vin Diesel, The Rock, Jason Momoa. And I guess maybe because it's like big manly men, that was just like, or another person I was thinking, Jamie Foxx. I'm wondering if Jamie Foxx was, because he's another comedian. So I was just wondering if Jamie Foxx or Dave Chappelle was presenting that award and they had done that same joke to Will, and Will Smith had came up to Dave Chappelle and smacked him. Would Dave Chappelle have stood there, or would he retaliated and they would have had to go to commercial break?
No, that boy would have went. That boy.
And then there was another crazy thing about that whole thing that I heard on the news. That Chris Rock, that joke was not even written by Chris Rock. That was a joke written by another writer, like for him to come out and say the teleprompter. So it wasn't even his joke. So he got smacked for a joke that he didn't even write.
That's crazy. I think in essence, I can say I want Will Smith to get whatever help he needs. Chris Rock, you are the man, and hopefully I one day get a chance to, I've met you, like I've talked to you, but like I want to be able to have you sit down on our show, and we ain't even got to talk about this. I just want to be able to sit down and like have a serious conversation with Chris Rock. I remember,
we got to ask him like, yo man, how you take that slap? Why you ain't punch his ass back? Fucking so.
You can tell the one thing that I really do appreciate about Chris Rock that you can tell more than anything in that whole scenario is Chris Rock is a GOAT because Chris Rock is Chris Rock, right? Chris Rock didn't have it was like he got slapped the shit out of and he didn't turn like, hey, yo, he didn't turn into that because that's not who he is. He got hit and he remained Chris Rock because that's who he is every fucking day.
He just kind of was like, oh, wow, like that's how you doing me?
Yeah, like, wow. And it's like, again, the funny thing though is, but before we move on, the thing that I thought was hilarious was like all of the celebrities that have come out and like, have said something about it. But the one of them that I thought was really funny was Jim Carrey. Besides what he said about how he was like sickened by Hollywood, which is, very true. But the one thing that he said is that he would have woke up the next morning and Will Smith would have had a $200 million lawsuit.
Yeah, I saw that.
Will Smith is very fortunate. I'll say this straight up. Will Smith is very fortunate that he slapped a black dude, because I'm guarantee you a white dude within that same position would not only be sitting at fucking Good Morning America going like, I think I lost some teeth, but also lawyers would have been knocking on Will Smith's door like,
oh yeah, if he had slapped, say, Gerard Butler or somebody.
Like, I just don't see. I see. It sucks that unfortunately the biggest news story of the Oscars is black on black crime.
Yeah, after a journey to make the Oscars more diverse. That's what else, like, people say, oh, he set us. Yes, he did set us back. He did set us back in the sense it's like people have been complaining, especially in the last 5 years, people have been saying the Oscars isn't diverse enough. It's not this, it's not that. And it's like a fucking black guy wins the top Oscar. And it's another just an irony situation, which is, all right, Oscars so white. We had the year where it was like Oscars, #Oscars go white. Okay, we have definitely seen diverse changes in the years to come. But the fucking 1 year, it's like the black guy won the top spot of the night, and nobody's focusing on that. We're focused on violence because black man in the same night before that happened assaulted another black man. It's like, and it's like, fuck. If only you had a time machine. I feel like if I had a time machine, like I would go back to the moment when Chris told the joke, or I would go backstage and be like, yo, Chris, don't tell that joke. Like, wait, what? Who are you? I'd be like, look, that's not important. Just don't go out there and tell that joke. Or change the teleprompter or some shit. Change it to something corny, a corny joke that has nothing to do with Jada at all. And it's like, I
feel like I understand where you're coming from in that place, but I will say that is a perfect excuse for the people who have made the Oscars not the people who have made the Oscars so white for 92 years can use
it is, but it also gives them fuel to go.
There is no fuel because there's that.
No, I'm saying like you gotta think for the people. Okay, let's say for the people who have made it so that it hasn't been that diverse.
Nope.
What can they say? They can say, nope. And this is why it hasn't been so diverse. Because look what happened. Because you got to think about that. It's two sides of the coin. For people who are pushing for more diversity, and for those other people who haven't, just been like, I think the show's fine. It's like those people will say, well, look what happens when we add way more diversity to the show.
I feel like that is a excuse
because think, did those segments happen when Jessica Chastain won her Oscar? Did that happen? No, it just happened. But that's what I'm saying. Like I know it's a coincidence that it happened with the black people, but it's just not a good look for us because it's like, what the fuck? Like,
no. I get what you're saying. I just feel like it is not for you, but it would be a ignorant excuse that if only stupid people would accept as a fucking reason when you are basically trying to say, I'll put it to you this way. If you're going to sit here and tell me that the reason, like the very reason that the people were saying Oscars so white is we're talking about the nominations and the fucking categories. There's been, can I be very frank? There's been niggas in the audience for a while, okay?
Yes, they've been in the audience. Yes,
and they've also been the host.
Yes, but we haven't. Yes, but we have. But the problem that we were focused on is there have not been a lot of diversity in the categories. That's when it comes to all the categories in general. There haven't before the whole hashtag white and so like there was like there were not a lot of Hispanic, Asian. It's not just a black problem. Not a lot of Asian, Hispanic, black, whatever. A lot of those categories, we weren't even in the fucking, we weren't even in the slot to be picked as this person should win. We weren't even there. It was like Seinfeld, this person, it was just like white.
I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is, for anybody at the Academy to try to use the incident between Chris Rock and Will Smith as any type of like pointing in the direction of the ignorant 90 fucking years of you not making it diverse, and some incident occurred, and just because the incident occurred happened to do with two minority people, is the most ignorant argument someone could use.
No. I know what you're saying, but I know what you're saying. It doesn't. You're right, but that's what happens. Because think about it. If you own, let's say, if somebody owned a comic book store, and all they hire was, and every time you go in, man, all the employees are just white. Man, you need more diverse people in your store. And let's say, okay, you come in there and now they hired a black guy. Okay, and then one night someone breaks into the store and steals a bunch of shit, and they find out it was the black guy.
That's not.
It's like, you know, that's, and I'm saying like that's scenario. No, and I'm saying like that's no. What I'm saying is that's the irony in that is like, what the fuck though? Tom, we hired a minority. That's who stole out the fucking store. And I'm not saying like that. That says like, okay, don't hire any more black people. I'm just saying it's an annoying and ironic thing that happens, because then it's like, what the fuck?
You're taking onions and peanut butter and putting them together. That's not the scenario at all here. You're talking about, oh, the one time that I gave diversity a chance, look what happened. This can't, again, you have to be an ignorant, not you,
but because think about it. How many times in the last 5 years alone, how many times that was the top Oscar, because he won the top Oscar for best male lead actor. In the last 5 years, before
Mahershala Ali won like 3 years ago. What are you talking about?
Like, okay, he won 3 years ago. Okay, all right, but you said 92 years. Like, we can probably count how many black men have won a fucking Oscar in the last 100 years on one hand.
I understand what you're saying. Yes, the Oscars for several decades has not been very diverse. What I was saying is that to any person from the Academy or anyone in Hollywood to try to use the Will Smith incident as any type of excuse to go in the direction of the diversity movement, you're talking about a fucking like eagle, and you're talking about a pile of spit on the ground. They're so far apart that the person just has to be ignorant to try to even connect.
But you know that. But the only thing I was adding to that is, you know, ignorant people will say that.
And I understand it, and that's why I'm saying it is very ignorant to try to put those two together. And I understand it's not even. I won't even just blame. I'm not going to sit here and just blame some white person or something like that for that. I'll say that any person who could possibly believe that this is going to affect that diversity is stupid enough to believe the lie that somebody would tell you in trying to connect those two very distant things. Having your categories be diverse and having an incident occur at your show is a problem with security, which has nothing to do with the fact that you got.
But I will say that probably at next year's Oscar show, there's probably gonna be like a fucking Los Angeles cop standing like by the stage.
There's always Los Angeles PD at the show.
No. I mean at the show, but I feel like just because, you know, just like stores, sometimes people do stuff just to satisfy stuff, because all you gotta do is give a perception and you satisfy. So like you go into a store, let's say you go into a pharmacy that always gets like milk and condoms stolen. It's always stolen. Okay, now you put them in a glass case. Now, if someone wants that, they have to signal someone comes and unlocks it. It just gives that perception of it. Just gives it off a perception for the store itself as a whole. All they did was give off the perception, like, look, it's safe.
I guess that they're gonna try to create some type of thing in that sense, just to try to move it along to sort of our like last point of the show is like, I want to say, because I know that on another segment of the show we're going to do the comic book section of it, which is going to be our Morbius review and the Moon Knight review. But again, I want to make sure that people understand the conversation that we're having here, which is like, we talked a lot about wrestling, we talked a lot about the Will Smith slap, we talked, and those are kind of the main points of what we talked about here. So I hope that you guys do tune in to check out our Morbius review and check out our Moon Knight review for episode 1. By the time you see those, we should be able to talk about maybe Moon Knight 1 and 2 together, to be able to sort of put those two together. And hopefully by then you guys have seen Morbius. But I honestly can say, again, on the Will Smith thing, I know that the LAPD and the Academy are doing their investigations of things, and Will Smith, announced that he resigned from the Academy, which, in my opinion, is just like, he just basically, again, that just feels like PR. He resigned before he got released. Basically, he resigned before,
because that's probably what they were gonna do on his. And I think, probably, I'm like, the only punishment I see that they may do is maybe he might not be invited for 2023 Oscars. That's it.
I don't.
I feel like that's okay, and that's no skin off his nose. I'm sure Will Smith has been to the Oscars like a dozen times before,
and I'm pretty sure that it will. The thing is that I know that there's concerns about what the ripple effects of this will be, because, like, again, he has kids in Hollywood and stuff. And, that's something that at least they're in the music industry. But hopefully, I want to say that I believe that any person out there from the Academy, or anybody out there, or anybody just in the news, if I hear that that's the case, listen, Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you, nigga. Like, that's my thing, where I feel like it is so easy to spin a narrative where, especially like as Black men or Black people, we could try to spin a narrative where, oh man, like, Will Smith, you embarrassed us in front of white people. Like, I personally don't feel like that should be the narrative. I feel I don't think
that. It's more like it. You know what it is? It's more like, because he's been like a John Cena for a very long time. Like, John Cena's gimmick has been a good guy forever. So John Cena became a heel. It might actually shock people. So Will Smith has always been, you think of pretty rainbows and unicorns, you think of Will Smith. So it's like, for the first time, I use Scott Pilgrim as a reference. When he kicked, when Gideon kicked Kim Pines, and it was like, kicked what's the name, Ramona, and it was like, bad. It's like, he slapped Chris Rock, it was like, bad. So that's what everybody's thinking. It's like, it's something that you would not expect ever to be put in. Will Smith getting angry and slapping someone, you would never think would happen would be something someone would say in the same sentence, unless he was in a movie or in a TV show,
or something actually bad happened, like, oh, some reporter,
or something, or like that time that reporter like kissed him or something. It was like, oh man, what you doing? He jabbed him. We excuse that because that guy did some weird shit. So, but this was. But I think that's the only thing that kind of hurts him a little bit. And I just say, and God forbid, the one thing that sucks about us as human beings as general is whenever you do any shit, it's just there. It's like a leech that just fucking attaches to you. I don't care if it's 10 years from now, Will Smith decides to fucking open orphanage for fucking blind mice. Somebody is gonna bring this shit up, because that's just human nature, what fucking people do.
You're bringing up a point that I was thinking, which is, the society that we create and the perception that we create for these celebrities is that you can't do wrong, you can't be human, you got to be greater than any of us, and you got to be sitting on this pedestal and never fucking leave that pedestal, or we're coming for you. We're gonna take everything.
Because if you leave, because oh my god, because if Ben Affleck did what? He snatched Girl Scout cookies out of a Girl Scout's hands. Now he's a fucking bad guy forever.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And meanwhile, you don't know on the other side of that, that Girl Scout could have been like, "Fuck you, Ben Affleck, give me $10."
We don't know it, and it like that's why I said it is embarrassing for like again. He is from the Black community standpoint. We're two Black males. He is a high standard in the Black community in the sense of somebody who's made it through success by not necessarily fucking somebody over or doing anything bad in that sense, at least that we know of. So it is a bit of an embarrassment for us as like, oh man, but it also makes us look at it as well. I hope, I don't think we're going to, but I would hope that people would also look at it as a sort of wake up call. In my opinion, personally, this is just me speaking as a Black male myself. One of the things that I found, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not even gonna name drop things because I don't want to break too many people's feet and hearing, me dropping some names and stuff like that from celebrities that me and Ronnie have met through doing this podcast and going through press and stuff like that. Right. So rather than to drop all those names or any of those, that nonsense, what I want to say is I have personally realized through spending time talking to these people, watching them in interviews, sitting there for hours, at a junket or something like that. We're sitting there. You realize really quick, these guys are just people that and they're talented and but they're talented. They're consistent and they have people to help them maintain their talent and consistency. And they are human, so they may break away and do stuff like that. Like no one's talking about, mental health because that's not something in the Black community we talk about. We don't talk about mental, like how somebody could have mental, mental health.
We just talk about you got to get your shit together and we got to work 10 times harder and that's it. We don't talk about that part.
Like we don't talk about the pressures of being like the pressures of being a celebrity is something that you don't understand. We don't understand.
I would say being a Black celebrity too, because it's still pressure. Because it's like, yeah, I made it in life and I'm rich as fuck, but you still have the same, you kind of still as Will Smith is still like in the same boat as us if he gets in trouble.
Well, yeah, that's the big difference is he got money. So
that's he got
money, PR teams and things like that.
But I'm saying like if I went to work Monday and I slapped somebody at work, it's like I can't just like go upstairs to the break room and sit down and be eating like, hey guys, they'd be like, oh, why is the police here? What's going on?
I will say that one of the things that I would say Will Smith is responsible for is Will Smith, as Kevin Hart has said this many times, people like Will Smith, people like Denzel Washington are blueprints for anybody who wants to aspire to do great things and whatever your pursuit is. These guys are at the pinnacle point of doing it because people like Samuel Jackson, those people have paved the way.
Speaking of Denzel, don't forget that quote he said to Will, which was like, the devil comes for you at your weakest moment or some stuff like that.
Not at your weakest moment, at your highest point.
Oh, no, at your highest point. Yeah.
Because at that moment in time, it becomes a matter of the self-doubt that gets sowed into you in that sense of like, did you really do this? Or who did you have to kill to get to this point? Who did you have to hurt? What next did you have to step on? Do you really do this? Imposter syndrome starts to kick in.
Oh, did you sell out? How'd you get here?
How'd you get here? Do you deserve to be here?
And that happens. I even told you, like, I felt like that doing fucking red carpets with us. Like, I'm like, there was some moments where I stood out there in places and thought, wow, how the hell did we even get here? Looking at some of the other journalists who might have fancier cameras or outfits than us. Yeah, it makes you, the fuck am I doing here?
It does, and it really gets down to, and I'm pretty sure for some of our audience members, this might be more of a serious conversation that we've had, in a long time. But I will just say again, this is a serious moment in Hollywood that I think is just basically, in my opinion, just going to get swept under the rug in the next like 90 days.
It's a serious moment because it's such a big star. Because let's face it, if this was like not to throw him out there, but just like if this was like one of the kids that starred in Cobra Kai, nobody would be talking about this. This would already be gone. Like nobody would have get. It would have panned the camera. It would have panned the camera somewhere else. It would have been on the news last week, and then we'd have moved on with our lives. It's like
for that. Ezra Miller. Did you hear about what happened with Ezra Miller?
Something. I don't remember exactly. I know something crazy happened with him too.
Exactly.
But yeah, you see what I mean? Like a lower level star. It's like it's such a big deal because Will Smith is like a larger than life star who's or no. In short, one of the biggest movie stars in Hollywood. That's why it's a big deal.
It's almost as if at this point in our day and age, it's almost as if The Rock did this because they have what's called a universal appeal. Will Smith is from a black standpoint, going from, I would say, in par with like an older black celebrity like a Samuel Jackson, like a Denzel Washington, or Wesley Snipes, or any of those guys. Will Smith is one of the younger ones of those people, but he's also standing shoulder to shoulder to them in terms of like Hollywood success and beyond. Like TV,
it would be like I feel like it would be like if Tyler Perry did something like this. It would also be like, this guy built himself from nothing to a fucking close to billionaire now. So it'd be the same thing. It's like Tyler Perry did that, and he's another one that like preaches about, especially he's like an advocate for black people. So yeah, I think that's another reason too that sometimes when you do something too, it's like the history of black people in America. That's why I think the black community comes for you when you do some stupid shit. Cause like, bro, you know what it took for us to, and I think that's what it is too. Because if you think about the mountaintop for us to get here, the road to be Will Smith, was that shit easy for us compared to white celebrities? No. So don't fuck up. Like I think that's why people are more. I think that's why people are angry too, because it's like, bro, this is your, like, you made it. You made it out of the out of the pit, like the Bane, Dark Knight, right? Like, don't fucking ruin it now.
But listen to what you're saying. You are placing unrealistic expectations on a man. He's a mere
mortal. No. I know. No, not me. I'm just saying, not me, but I'm just saying, like, I believe that's probably why. Like, I'm just giving a reason to why. Like, when a black celebrity does something, especially like a black celebrity does something, why the black community comes at you like, or a woman, like, he comes at you like, come on, Keisha Cole, or come on, Janet Jackson, like, because it's like, all right. Like, like you're one of the privileged ones of us that were able to take your talent and make it to that mountaintop, so they want to see you continue to shine, not fuck it up.
I understand that, but at the same time, that in itself goes back to realizing, again, the realization that I had and us spending time and doing press is like, oh, you're just Denzel. Like, you're just a guy who, did his thing and had talent beyond, talent.
But you got to think though, you're larger than that. You're somebody's inspiration. Someone else is signing an acting deal at an agency because Will Smith was the inspiration. Denzel, somebody took a chance and thought, I can be a wrestler too because of Booker T, or different people, not just black, of course, but like, you got to think, like, we're all larger. Somebody starting a podcast right now, like, these two guys can, You know what I mean? Like we're all kind of larger than ourselves. So you got to think about it that way. People think, and then like we said, people put the celebrity on a pedestal. So it's like, man, I can achieve that. It's an unachieved, and let's face it, it is like some fantasy shit that is not exactly an easy feat to achieve. So yeah, so that's why there's all these social pressures. But at the end of the day, yeah, you're right. Like, yeah, this is just a fucking guy who, yeah, and that's the funny thing about celebrities stardom in the first place, because half these people, you don't know what celebrity out there is mega famous, and they weren't even trying to achieve. Like, I was just broke, and I put it in the demo tape. I was just trying to make like a couple thousand, pay off my debt. You know what I mean? And it's like, like my demo tape took off, and like I just got larger than life.
Not everybody, like, again, it becomes that thing where you get put, like, fame is so dangerous in that sense that, again, there is always going to be these unrealistic expectations that, people are going to have for their favorite celebrities, unless you somehow, I think somehow, some way, I know they say don't meet your heroes. I personally think that the opposite, which is I think you should meet people to find out, as close as possible to who they are. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people at a convention or some place that you go to, like a red carpet, you are, or a talk show,
I think from our experience, I think meeting someone at a red carpet, you might be getting a more authentic version of them, or meeting them on the street versus a con. Because meeting them, especially if who's not going to be nice to you if you're paying them to like, yeah, how much is that? Oh, that's 50. Oh, that's $50. I smile at you and answer your question. It's like, yeah, of course, you're getting fucking paid to be here, and of course nobody's gonna be like, what do you want? That'll be $100. No, nobody's gonna do that. So,
in essence, I just think that there's not I'm not defending celebrities. I am just looking at it and saying there is this unrealistic viewpoint that we have of what a person can do. And then one of the biggest things that gets me is that, when do we actually forgive? Like, do we just want people to just burn?
Let me
finish. Wait, let me finish.
Go ahead.
Do we just want people to just burn and be in anguish and despair and disgust and like be thrown rocks at like it's fucking Game of Thrones for life? Or do we want this person to have a mistake occur, learn from it, and be a better person? Like, I need the audience.
Yeah, we need the audience to write some comments in for that one.
Write some comments. Please let me know if you want people to be better human beings, or is it just, depending on what you did, fuck you for life?
But I feel like that. I was gonna say, from my answer, yes and no, because I feel like 50% of people are like, yeah, fuck Markell, he should burn. And then there's the other 50% are just like, yeah, I mean, I know he did kick that guy in a wheelchair down the stairs back in '95. It's 2022. I guess we can forgive him for that.
But to me, that's what I say. Like, I'll go back to, just for myself, for anybody who's listening to the whole show here and they're going back, like, well, you said fuck Cody Rhodes, right? Yes, I say fuck Cody Rhodes in the sense that I personally feel like, based on a real business decision that this guy could do, by signing back up with WWE, I personally, in my own integrity, cannot spend my own hard-earned cash to like deal with this guy or spend time doing this thing that I love with him. That doesn't mean I want to see the dude die. That doesn't mean I want to see the dude happen. He can go off and live a life. He's just shown me, in this hypothetical situation of him going back to WWE, the kind of person that he is in making that decision for money or benefits or whatever, because it's a complete polar opposite of what he's been preaching the gospel of for this period of time. And again, people are allowed to change their mind, but I'm also allowed to make my own decision to go, that's cool. And that's cool with you. I'm not happy with that decision. So I'm gonna now pull back and go, I can't deal with that. I'm not gonna watch you while you on TV. I'm on Monday night or Friday night, be Cody, whatever the hell you want to be on WWE. Their product to me is not for me right now. It's for some people, but the product that they present to me right now feels like a wrestling sitcom, and that's not what I'm here for. I don't need a wrestling.
No, I get you.
I don't need. That's not what what I'm here for. But going back to our original point there again, it goes back to the question I posed to the audience. I posed to everybody. When do we forgive? Like what situation are we going to make a decision on and go, okay, this guy did like, let's say Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, in my mind, has belief for however long in his mind that, black people, the term nigger, which was used, obviously, in just conversation amongst white people, whether or not you were particularly racist or not, you might have just referred to black people as the N-word, as it said. Right?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of interviews with him saying, apologizing and saying that, he never meant to do that, and he was angry, and it was in a private setting, and all this other stuff.
Again, in that same sense, in my mind, you can make the decision on your own to either forgive him and continue to go forward, or decide that what he did was so horrible that you just no longer, like I'm doing with Cody. Personally, I don't fuck with Hulk Hogan like that, because he basically told me is that in his anger, because a lot of times people's anger, their walls come down and truth comes out a lot of times. In your anger, you referred to black people in a derogatory way, because that came from here. That didn't come from liquor. That didn't come from no other shit. That came from here, because that tells me, like, again, and it's the context. I pay attention to the little finite details. The context.
It was the hard ER. It was the hard ER.
It
wasn't the A. You're listening to that. You listen to that cadence, like, yo, that wasn't with the A. That was with the ER. Yo,
the ER, bro. And I say that, and I say, all right, if that's what you believe deep down, when you are calm and sober, you're like, nah, I don't have a problem personally with black people or anything like that. And it's like, hey, Hulk Hogan, I believe you, dog. But the fact that inside of you is that belief that, like, if you get mad enough that, like, you could get to that point where you feel that that's a piece of your brain that you can go to, I won't fuck with you.
Yeah, see, and that's different. Yeah, I could say, like, it's like that. I can't really forgive, because, it takes me back to my childhood. Like, dude, this guy was one of my idols. And now I feel like when I was young and he was saying, eat vitamins, say your prayers, he wasn't talking to me. He wasn't talking to people that look like me.
I think he was talking to you because he realized the fact that through you, he can get to your parents. Like, he was talking to you. Yes, he was.
Oh, yeah. So he can get
the fact that his mindset was set on, I can be around, like, I can, as a black man or any minority, I don't need you to tolerate me. I need you to accept, respect, and deal with me as a human being. Like Dave Chappelle said, please believe that I'm having a human experience. Like, we're all humans. It's us as human beings who actually have this whole concept of, well, you're inferior to me because your skin tone's darker, or your voice is different from mine. Like, it's a stupid concept.
Or you've been to jail before, and I went to Harvard. Yeah, that must make me a better person.
It's automatically, it's a stupid concept that wastes a lot of brain cells and just keeps human beings stuck in their place. But again, I don't want to bore you guys with all the. You know
what? Maybe we started a different podcast for that one.
We're being real here. This is an open and real podcast here, and we're saying to you guys, listen, we love pop culture and we love all of these guys, but in essence,
but I think that Will Smith ultimately can come back from this. I think he can. I do think I still just think in my own, he's just take a little time. Take a little time to make people forget about this, And then I definitely think like, oh no, this isn't. I don't think like, oh, that's it. His career's over. I am a little annoyed just because this happened because I know there was like some news that was released a few weeks ago with a possible sequel to I Am Legend with him and Michael B. Jordan. And I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. But now I feel like that might be delayed or something. Or they'll make it, but it just won't come out, maybe like 2024 or something. Let this die down a little.
I agree. I think that yeah, the PR advice from me and Ronnie to you, Will Smith, if you ever hear this, is to, keep doing what you're doing. But I really do hope that you get some help around, making sure that you keep that Dawu inside as we Dawu
because what we don't need, and I'm gonna tell you right here now, knock on wood, because I don't want this to happen. We don't need another incident, a second one, and then it's different, and now we on a different plan. We don't need like to hear about Will Smith spazzing out at a restaurant and this shit happened again somewhere, because then it is the Black community coming for you. Then it is like, what the literal fuck, man?
What are you doing? What are you doing? Come here, Will.
What's his name? Who is that? What celebrity did that happen to? It's like Conor McGregor or something, where it's like he had the incident with the bus where he was like through a chair or some shit. Then he had the incident with Machine Gun Kelly where he was like trying to do something, making fun. It's like, okay. Then when you start building a pattern, then us fans or PR, we can't help you, dog. You on your own. Now you just in the crazy train. Right.
And to me, I would say if a second incident occurred with him, I don't know if you've heard Kanye West's Donda album, but one of my favorite songs on there is called Jail, and one of the taglines on there, somebody about to go to jail tonight. Yeah. That's what's gonna happen to fucking Will Smith.
And think about that. I like Kanye is another good person. Like Kanye's just said, he hasn't done any crazy shit. He said a lot of crazy shit, but I feel like but if you think about Kanye's strategy, he says some crazy shit, then we don't hear from Kanye for a long time. Then he comes back and drops a dope ass album. So it's like, yeah, and while you listening to that, you're forgetting that he said slavery was a choice 3 years ago because you're too busy preoccupied with his new album. You know what I mean? So it's possible. When you think about stuff like that, it's possible. But yeah, Will Smith will definitely, I think he'll be okay.
Well, guys, I do appreciate you guys spending this time with us. As always, we are here as I'm Markell, and this ugly guy over here is Ronnie.
Whoa. I'm the handsome brother. What are you talking about? I mean, clearly people are going to see that for themselves. Just look at the
camera. He's clearly the poorer one as well.
Wow.
But yeah, but I will say thank you guys for tuning in for the blackest show we've ever done. No,
the black edition. No.
The black edition of the show. But there will be another segment in which we dive more into some more of the awesome nerdy stuff which you guys are looking for, and we know you want to hear about what we think about Moon Knight, and we know you want us to hear from us about what we thought of Morbius
and its post credit scenes, 2 of them. If you haven't seen it, when you do see it, stay. There's 2 post credit scenes like right after the first set of credits.
I mean, if you want, you can, go get the car started if you want. It's
no, I mean, you got the remote started. I mean, you can hit that, but no, I mean, stick around for it. Only thing I'll say now before we do a fuller review is like, it's better than Venom. We had other reviews and we talked about that. I didn't like Venom. Need 1 or 2. They both sucked to me. But Morbius, there's a tad bit of potential there, and it was a better done film, I feel like, than Venom.
So,
which is funny because Venom's actually mentioned in that movie too, so that's also funny.
So I'm gonna say real quick that by comparing those 3 things together, if Venom 1 was a crackhead, Venom 2 was a meth addict, and Morbius is just a really, really, really stoned weed head. Not as bad as a crackhead or distant teeth.
Yeah, Morbius, not bad. I honestly didn't leave the theater like I just paid for that. I felt like okay.
That sounds like that sounds like the worst date ever.
It feels like, it feels like if you have roommates and stuff and you had just went out on a date, or like if I was single and I went out on a date and I came to you and you were like, so how'd the date go? It was okay. I think it went okay.
So what that basically means is he didn't get laid and he didn't want to hold his hand. She didn't want to hold his hand. Nope. He didn't want to hold hand. It's like it was real awkward too because he went in.
And I did get this really cool cup.
Oh, I did see that terrible marketing material. Oh man, I can't wait till we do that one. But with that said, guys, we're gonna round up this show. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Ronnie and Markell Make a Podcast Show Zoom edition. Please make sure that you stay tuned to our social medias. Ron Mar Podcast on Twitter. Ronnie and Markell Podcast.
Yeah, I almost forgot. My brain went blank. I was like, wait, what's our Instagram again? Ronnie Markell Podcast. Okay.
And again, as always, we are in construction of our Ronnie and Markell Podcast website, which is under construction. And again, you'll see some articles, videos, a lot of the stuff, a lot of exclusive content you'll start seeing on there. So we do appreciate that as well. And you will see up and coming in the future, we have some interviews that we're currently working on getting some famous guests for. Two guys, I'll give you a little hint, that worked on a little project with the name Demons in it. Those are ones that we're working on right now. And
oh shit, you got some actors from Night of the Demons? Oh shit, okay. It's like
no. But yeah, there's a few things that we're working on right now. Again, getting back out there as things start to turn to the new normal. Again, you'll get a chance to see us back out at conventions, and I think the next convention, what are we going to? Fan Expo? Is that the next one coming up?
Or Fan Expo? Yeah, that's the next one. Fan Expo.
That's it. Actually, that's what?
Like next weekend?
Yeah. So definitely, and then you will get a chance, hopefully within our next show, you may also get a chance to see our Sonic review, because Sonic 2 comes out.
Oh yeah, man. Like we're starting to roll with the dope stuff again. So let's go.
Summer movies are starting, but let's just go ahead and look around and say, all we care about is what Marvel does.
Yo, yeah, Doctor Strange next month. Y'all not ready for that smoke. I ain't even see it, and I know that movie gonna be smoke.
Hey, wait, here's the smoke right here. You see it? Y'all ain't ready for that.
You ain't ready for that. Y'all ain't ready. You know what? Push it back 2023. Y'all, they ain't ready. They ain't ready. Kevin Feige gonna be like, y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready.
Not ready. Wait, you telling me right now you got Moon Knight? You about to get Doctor Strange? You gonna a little bit
Miss Marvel? What we got? Miss Marvel coming too.
You also got Love and Thunder coming in the summertime.
I'm still gonna say Shazam. I still think The Rock's gonna bring it with Shazam. I mean, not Shazam. What's the name? What the hell is it? Black Adam. Black Adam. No, Black Adam. Like, I think that's still gonna. And it's just like, I just know that The Rock's very strategic about the projects he picks these days. I just don't see that movie second. I'm just sorry. Like, I'm just sorry. Like, I feel like, because I always make the joke, I feel like they brought the script to The Rock, like the first draft, and he was like, okay, that's cool. Whose movie is that for? Oh, that's a Black Adam. And he's like, hey, he threw it like, I ain't doing that. For get back in there and that shit got to be dope.
I hope you're right. I really do.
I mean, have I been wrong before? It's funny. I don't like to be right, but have I been wrong before with the DC movies? I said a long time ago, I'm like, man, if they keep getting this shit wrong, you're gonna come out with other movies that are doper than your core characters, like Wonder Woman, Batman. It's like we done got other shit that came out like the Suicide Squad that was way better than some of the other shit we done seen. So it's like, so is it ironic that Black Adam's probably gonna be better than and Batman, Superman, other shit we saw? Probably. Peacemaker, it's like, man, is Peacemaker better than? Yeah, it is. Let's face it, it is. And it's John Cena. It's not even like like that show was better than a couple movies they made.
Bottom line, it's we hope that we see a good balance of comic book movies that come out this year and other independent movies that come out like
but I
this.
think DC, they're getting it together. They're working on it. I'm like, I've seen a lot more DC properties and things that are better. They're getting there. Like, I mean, you think about the Harley Quinn cartoon and Peacemaker and Suicide Squad. Like, they're getting the slow track record of, okay, they're getting it. I think that they're sitting in a room strategizing, and I think they're getting it together. Like, even Flash, I'm not even that big of a fan of like Ezra Miller's Flash, but I feel like, you know what? I'm gonna go into it with an open mind, thinking it might be good. Maybe I'm wrong.
Here's the thing, right? You ready? You ready for this? So when you brought up Harley Quinn, you need to take that out the category. Here's why: DC animation ain't never been bad. It's the rest of this shit.
Oh, I know.
Just call it what it is. DC animation has been on point consistently. DC animation.
Speaking of, I got this one. I gotta watch this one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I gotta watch that.
Wait, did you spend money on that?
I gotta watch that one.
You spent money on it?
What is up with that?
That's on.
People still buy DVDs and Blu-rays. That's still a thing.
But you also know that's on HBO Max, right?
But people still spend money on stuff.
You know that you know you pay for HBO Max, right?
Yeah, I know, but you can't. If you want the physical, if you want to own it, physical. I can take this. You
can take it and do what with it. Sit it on your desk.
I could get. We could get this signed at a con, or give it away for a giveaway.
Oh, I see. You don't have a real reason for getting it. I'm gonna go watch that on the HBO Max account that you pay for. I'm gonna go ahead and watch it on there, and then we can sit here and talk about it on the show. Okay, that'd be cool. Now, don't get me wrong; they do get some wrong on the animation side, like that piece of garbage Batman Hush. That was a piece of garbage.
Oh, wow.
On the animation side, because they did a very piss poor job of trying to cram two graphic novels into like a 1 hour movie. That didn't work out so well. So that's the only one recently that didn't settle well with me. But the rest of what they do.
Oh yeah, I told you that one wasn't that great. I was like,
Absolutely. Guys, we're riding off into the sunset. I'm hitting the stop button now, which means that's it, guys. The show is go.
Until next time. Peace out.
Next time. My finger is coming. Where's that button? I'm just trying to find it.
I'm gonna just
where'd it go? Oh wait, did I stop it?
No, it's still there.
It's still going. Ah!